Hello, it's May 11th, 2023, and this is the Backdrop Weekly Developers Meeting. We get together every week to talk about development priorities for the Backdrop project. We've got some exciting things right around the corner. The release of Backdrop 1.25.0 is going to be coming out on Monday, May 15th. And we're going to be using this meeting to talk about the last items that need to be resolved before that final release. We'll do some quick introductions. My name is Nate Lampton. I'm Quick Sketch on the Internet core committer and project co-founder. I'm joined here by Tim and Greg. If you guys each want to give an introduction, we'll start with Tim.
Sure. Tim Erickson. I'm St. Paul Tim on the internet in Deerwood, Minnesota.
And
Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, and I'm Greg. I'm usually joining from Melbourne, Australia, but now currently in Greece. Interested to help in any way that I can with backdrop related tasks.
Excellent. Back in Greece for a little while. Excellent.
The summer. Follow the sun.
All right. It's always dark wherever you are, though, it seems. Well, thank you again for joining us. Really appreciate it. Okay, so 120. Oh, before we go much further, we always talk about new contrib projects. There's a new module by Eric Foy, who I think is a relatively recent member of the Backdrop contrib group. A new module named Enhance Number Display Options, which provides additional formatters for outputting number fields. Thanks, Eric, for making that module. Okay, so we've got the follow-ups here for the 125 release. There are, I say follow-ups because they're all related to issues that have already been merged. Let's see. So we'll start off with Menu Block UI Cleanup, issue 6093. And yeah, so, Greg, can you help me out here on this one? Yeah,
sure. The screenshot at the top of the page basically gives a before and after. Yep. So basically, we introduced the hashtag in the indentation property, and because the collapsible behavior set of radio buttons, as well as the accordion style elements, depend on the checkbox right above them, that display menu toggle button, we needed to intend them. That's one change. And then if you look at the before screenshot, there's a help text for the set of the radio buttons, and also help text for each individual button. Right. So if you see the parent items behavior in collapsible mobile view on the left side, So if you scroll your pointer a bit down, you will see that it's as a help text along with all the help texts. So this doesn't help, and I thought that maybe we can merge it up there. And I'm just looking for some wordsmithing. Basically, I just put it up there, and then I thought that the words default toggle and link may not make sense to a person that is new with menus in Backdrop or with the smart menu library that we're using. And basically, we are exposing internal settings of the library as words there. And I thought that maybe if we had explanations, maybe it would help. But I'm waiting for feedback on that. Olaf, for example, said that he prefers the shorter versions of it. I'm not sure if Team Jen, anyone else has provided any feedback. So just waiting on that.
Sure.
Yeah. I agree right off with this easier in communication, choose the toggle option. But that's coming from my scenario where I've just been in a situation where I'm telling somebody how to do something like a workshop driven environment. And it's a lot easier to say, select the default option or toggle than it is. Select the each expands collapses the nested menus option, I'd probably end up saying the second option in such a scenario because there's no easy way to actually say that verbally.
Okay, so if you can take like one second, you team as well, just to add some feedback there, and maybe Jen, whenever she finds time, or anyone else that is interested in UX UI,
Yeah.
just add those as comments, and I'll revise the pull request.
Yeah, I'll comment on the issue. I'm leaning towards that as well. I mean, some combination is, I mean, I like what you're trying to do, but I think removing the word toggle and link makes it a little bit clumsier for me too. So
Right.
I'll try to be more productive. I'm gonna give you something more specific.
Yeah, another thing that I think might apply here is that I don't actually think that these options are dependent on each other. So this menu toggle is for the hamburger button, but regardless of whether or not there's a hamburger displayed, the mobile behavior actually continues to work. So if you don't use the hamburger and if you uncheck this box, then when you go down to mobile mode, the menu is still displayed in a mobile format, and these settings still apply. It's just not hidden inside of the hamburger menu.
Then we need to fix that because they're hidden using states in that form.
Oops. So, okay, that's interesting. Okay. Okay, I'll say that.
And the checkbox after that. So both options, the radio options and the checkbox, they both vanish via states. See the accordion style. So basically, all these options that were added there were a set of 6 options. And the checkbox is basically grouping together the 3 of them, which is, maybe I'll try to rephrase that. There were 3 options and the same 3 options with the accordion style. So we moved it into a checkbox instead.
Okay.
So did we break anything with the earlier, or did we just not make it work properly?
Maybe we didn't make it work properly because
Okay.
these options have been introduced with the previous.
I see. The options didn't exist before, so we can't break them.
Yes. So this accordion style checkbox there that you see, Nate, is basically the same option for all 3 options above. So the library offers 3 options, and 6 options in total, and the last 3 were basically the first 3 plus the accordion style. So it's,
got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this accordion style was also introduced.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Okay.
Well, is this the problem that Nate just identified? Is this relatively easily fixable, or is this a feature we need to pull out until it gets fixed?
The easy bit is to fix the states, remove the states, and then you will have all these options there. Implementation wise, it might not. I don't know. I'll have to check the code.
Yeah, functionality, it's not breaking anything, but it's confusing that the options will actually have an effect even if you uncheck this box. And so they're going to be hidden, and they'll still have an effect even though they're hidden. And that's not what anybody would expect. But the functionality on the front end still works. So it's definitely a UX, like what the heck's going on here. But not something that would.
Okay, so the problem is with with the form. It's not with the end functionality.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. Let's see. So next up is Search Pager. So looks like an empty previous button needs to not be rendered. So that's interesting. I saw this when I merged it, but I thought that was just the way that Basis displayed it. And so I didn't think that it was an issue. I thought it was a little unusual, but I was like, oh, it must just be the way that is. But you're saying when this is inside of a view, the mini pager doesn't render that first thing. Okay, interesting. I wonder.
And we have a follow-up to actually remember your request that you made to generalize and move it out of views and make it put it in the pager.inc include file. But we need to fix that for the feature that we just introduced. So, and I imagine it's probably going to be a conditional, just 1 or 2 lines fix or something.
Yeah, I'm not, yeah, we'll have to look into what's causing this. We're probably passing in something into theme views pager that needs to be empty. We probably just passed in the wrong value, because if it's rendering correctly in views, then it should render correctly
Yeah,
elsewhere.
I think that it's passing a non-breaking space, if I recall correctly.
Oh, yeah, that would do it.
Yeah.
That's funny. Okay, so that one should be pretty easy to resolve. So these two have to do with the new editor role. So when you install Backdrop out of the box now, there's now an editor or an administrator role and an editor role. And now each of those roles have special behaviors attached to them as well. So the administrator role, when you turn on a new module, it enables the new permissions for that module on the administrator role all the time. That functionality is not new, but now there's the editor role that can be assigned to any role, which matches the name editor out of the box. When you create a new content type, you get all the permissions on that content type on the editor role. And this issue is about removing the delete any permission from the editor role, both in the special behavior that editor roles are given and in the new or in the existing editor role that's created in the standard profile.
Yep.
So yeah, it looks like this one's really close. This one doesn't. Oh, it does have a pull request.
Yeah. So Herb has tested this and has found that that is not working properly. It's not saving certain things. And I knew that Jen was going to be busy with the podcasts and the presentations and stuff. So I started taking a look, and I immediately got annoyed by the fact that we are basically. I did provide some feedback, but then I tried to fix it on my local, and I fixed way too many things. As you know,
you fixed way too many.
Yes, as you always know me to do. So what I've done is I have a working pull request that actually fixes everything, and it's based off of Jen's. But Jen added, I don't know, 20 lines of changes, and I added like 200 or something. So I did clean up and things. Anyway, the point is that I've split my pull request into a separate follow-up issue, and we need to take a look at what is causing this. But I am assuming that the source of all evil here, the culprit, is the fact that what I call placeholder permissions. When we are creating a new content type, the permission names do not include the name of the type because we don't know it yet. So we have a lot of places where we are adding the content type name and removing it and doing checks. So this is part of the thing that I consolidated, right? But maybe we'll need to do a quick and dirty fix here and then consolidate everything in a follow-up.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I don't think it needs to be quick and dirty, but quick would be preferred. Yeah, for sure. To just make it so that we're solving the exact problem being faced here. Okay. So this one sounds like it just has some potential. You know what else is? This hasn't been addressed in this pull request, I don't think. The messages that, oh, here it is. I guess actually there is a message. Delete.
Yeah, we removed the word any. So they have the option to edit and delete content, but not delete any content.
Okay, so you just remove the word any. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, that's a nice simple solution. I was worried about needing to reword all of that, and that's actually pretty simple. Okay.
Yep.
Great. Okay. That's is that it? Let's see. Let's look
if
at
you
the
look in the
125 milestone.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say.
So this, that. Yep, that's all of it. So I don't think any of these are very difficult. Just going to take a little bit of, focus to get these all cleaned out.
Yep.
Yeah. Since I missed the meeting last week, I would like to take the opportunity to celebrate everything that we got into 125, which it was fantastic in the end. I didn't think that we would get a lot of these things completed, but we did. So there's the new editor role that we just talked about. This one that I was the advocate for, the add option to limit text formats for each field instance. I really didn't think I was going to have time for that, but just the spacing in between waiting for feedback or waiting for the feedback cycle on other stuff. I had the time to do that over the weekend before Feature Free, so that way worked out really well. Thank you everybody that reviewed and came together on that. Our code sprint was really just really good.
I enjoyed that as well. We were on a roll.
Let's see. Yeah, fix the indentation. Allow the
Basically,
alts.
yeah,
This is just
it
a
was,
bug. Yeah.
yeah, it was, yeah, that's the bug. The celebration there should go to actually introducing the indentation thing. Yeah.
Yeah, which was done much earlier. But yeah, pound indentation is pretty cool new form API attribute. Allow alt title to be required on image uploads. That changed shape and then got completed all rather really quickly. This was add the mini pager option to search module results, also one that we just talked about, but that one came together really quickly. I think Leak Soup, the person that filed that pull request, you're right, Greg, that was a very good introduction to the community. They came in and said, hey, I'd like to have this thing. And then within pretty much a week of them opening it, we solved it. And now within 3 weeks, they're going to actually have it in a release. So that's pretty exciting.
Good timing. We have another follow-up. So we have one follow-up to fix the small bug with the empty first and last. But there's also a follow-up to make the pager smart enough so that when we're on mobile, it turns into a mini pager. And
that would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if that's yeah, I'm not sure if that needs to be theme specific or if we can make it not be theme specific, because I think generally that would be done with CSS rather than JavaScript, which would make it be generally theme based, but I don't know.
Yeah, we already have media queries that turn the vertical tabs into field sets and other things. So we can use the same breakpoints, so to say, or media entries to switch from the full pager to the mini pager and have a better experience.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Add context from layouts to be passed into views blocks. This is a complicated thing to explain, but is really awesome. This was our two new contributors that we've been working on this one for a couple of months now, but yeah, this is now finally merged and completed. So that was great to get this one.
Also good experience. Yeah, very thorough. Like we had a lot of back and forth because there was a thorough code review and feedback on implementation, but both of the contributors were very quick to implement things and very persistent. They stuck with it and drove it to the end. So
yep, yeah, look at all this participation we had. This is fantastic. I mean, let's see, 10 people, and this was, I guess, I mean, this goes back to February, so I guess that is kind of a long turnaround, but yeah, really excellent to get that completed.
Yeah, but the thing about it is it was kind of steady, consistent. So it didn't happen fast.
It was like constant.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we got right on it, like Greg here posting within a day. Yeah, and then, yeah, just a lot of back and forth. Yeah.
Right. I'm just sort of continual ongoing discussion. Yep.
Let's see. This one was a follow-up. This is the new feature. WebP is added to all image and all file fields now, instead of just being on image field, like field module fields. So that includes places like user profile pictures and the hero upload block, anywhere that there's an upload field that's not actually part of field module.
Yep.
Oh yeah, this one, yeah, add language switcher to the admin bar when locale module is enabled. Love this.
Yeah.
I always think that we should put more things in the admin bar because there's lots of potentially useful things, and I think this is a great addition. Let's see. I think those are the key items that we got during the code sprint.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was fantastic. Okay, yeah. So 125 is looking like it's in real good shape. Do you guys have any other thoughts about 125 items?
No, I mean we can't possibly fit anything in, and everyone from the usual suspects that help us, they seem to be on the road or on holiday
Yeah.
for the next couple of weeks. So we don't have a lot of hands on deck, I'm saying. So we already got to like enough things to make this a very solid release. So
Mhm. Okay, well, we have one more thing to talk about, and that's this is the one item that was tagged in the 125 release that didn't quite make it. Add a user account compare visibility rule. So this would be useful when placing a block in a layout if you want to only show a block if the logged in user is the same as like the user's profile that you're viewing, or the opposite, like you don't want to show a block if you're viewing your own profile page. That's the most common use cases that we're talking about here.
I'm
And
not sure, Nate, I'm not sure if you saw the video from the previous dev meeting. It's so it was Tim and Jen discussing that they saw your comment, and they see why you were saying that, but we have intentionally tried to simplify things, and you basically reverted everything to
yeah,
what
I
we
know,
discussed.
I did. Yeah, and Jen, yeah, we talked offline about this. That
Okay.
Jen was like, "Why did you undid all my changes?" And I was like, "Well, I undid all of your changes, but I also made some changes, but it's hard to see from the screenshot." And that, um, so the previous, let's look at the previous screenshots. So
Yeah, I wanted to look at your PR so I could give you feedback, but it obviously wasn't working. So,
yeah, the pull request isn't working, but we'll kind of
Mhm.
discuss as best we can from the
Sure.
screenshots. So what this does, this is the latest pull request that Jen had filed. So the one option that you're given is it's instead of letting you choose two accounts to compare between, it only lets you choose one account, and then the other account is always the logged in user. It's like basically locked, that choice.
Mhm.
And then the description here is display this block if the above user account is the same as the
Yep.
logged in user account, different than the logged in user account. And my feedback is mostly around how to phrase this question easily.
Mhm.
And my big, well, that's the big challenge, is phrasing that question correctly. But and specifically, this question being phrased like this could be difficult for translations, because if you're translating these two strings separately, there's a good chance that you'll make a sentence that doesn't actually make sense, because you don't have the context of where these strings are being used.
Yep.
So it's difficult to translate a sentence when it's split up like this. So I was trying to come up with a better way to phrase this question.
Mhm.
And so that's why I think that doing something like this, where the whole sentence is all together, display if the user accounts are the same, display if the user accounts are different, that's a lot
Sure.
easier to translate. I'm not actually thrilled with the length of this, kind of going back to like the first issue we discussed today, where it's like short
Right.
text is actually much easier. And I thought about just having it be like equal, different, like and
Yeah.
then
Mhm.
put in the description text this sort of thing. Maybe
Right.
that would be even better. Um, but in order to make these options short, you need to know what two accounts you're talking about. And so that's why I think that it's better to have these options that are like the first user account and the second user account. And then you're just saying, what is the difference between those, rather than having to explain and write out logged in user account. You just say the first account versus the second one. But I
Mhm.
understand that it's like we're asking questions here that people might not know the answer to, and that
Only,
the
not
sandbox. Oh, go ahead.
not only that, but Jen made a good point that when it comes to the first user account, we sort of like made a conscious decision to address only the most frequent use case, which is the logged in user, to make this less complicated.
Yep. Yep. And so what I tried to do in the pull request that you can't actually test, but I'll fix
Mhm.
that, is that I removed the duplicate options so that
Okay.
in testing this, there's actually no other options in this select list, and there's no other options in this select list
Okay.
either. And so that makes it so you can't really choose a wrong choice unless you have more than two user contexts available. Like if you have a third one, then it then gives you all three options in all three drop downs, I think. So if you have a really crazy situation, then it will handle that. But yeah, if you are talking about the easiest situation possible, um, another thought I had about this, well, it's like, well, what are the chances that you really have two user contexts, like user /% or something like that? It's very unusual. And if that's the case, maybe if we're talking about the 80% use case, maybe we shouldn't even ask for the second one either. Like if you go
Mhm.
all the way to the 80% use case, then you don't need to ask either account. You
Mhm.
just say compare the logged in user to the user,
Good. Yeah,
and
yeah,
you don't
perfect.
even need to ask for this question at all. And then the only thing is the difficult to ask question. But
Mhm.
the equal or different question is so hard to phrase without being able to explain where those user accounts are coming from, that in my
Mhm.
mind I thought it would be better actually to show the options, lock them so that they don't
Sure.
actually have any other values in them, and then the question, you can make it make sense in a small amount of words.
Got it. That explanation helps. Um,
I'm not totally sure that it's valid, but that was what
well,
my thinking was. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, before I wanted to just tell you you were screwing things up. I wanted to try it to make sure. Uh, and I'm glad I did wait because it sounds like it might. I mean, it's definitely what you're showing us does have some advantages to what it you didn't take it back to the same thing that Jen originally had. Um, the and it seems at least partially because of the user account. Well,
Oh,
wait, this is Jen's version. This is
yeah,
not your
this is
version.
Jen's
Yeah.
version, and then this is my version.
Yeah, I
So
mean the fact that for the first user account we can see logged in user account that's an improvement for me. It's the second one that I think like if I hadn't spent all this time talking about this issue, I wouldn't know what that means, right?
mhm.
And I'm wondering if a little bit of the problem with adding help text is that the help text would be specific to this option, and this option could change with a contrib module, right? Or custom code. Right now, there's only one option there, but that could change.
Yeah, it's. I mean, if a contrib module alters this, then
They can
they
alter.
would also need to alter the description. So we can definitely describe based on the options that are in core, and if somebody else modifies it, well, then it's their
I
responsibility
just
to also
think
update the description. Yeah.
something to sort of help understand what the user account from the path, right? Position two, that doesn't mean much to a beginner.
Yeah. So
And
this
right,
particular text happens anytime there's more than one context available. So
right.
if this were nodes, it would be like content from the path in position two, or if it were
Right.
taxonomy terms, it would be taxonomy term from the path in position two. So this is generated by
Yeah.
layout module, and
And
maybe we could come up with a better phrasing, but it would affect it across the board, not
so,
just
right.
here.
Yes. And I understand, well, although there might be some just help text we could add to this page that would help people. I don't know if this is true or not, but if there's some help text we could add to this screen, like that sort of help people understand what the user in position two is, that could be a way to solve this. But I know that in views, I sometimes use settings that involve like the content or user in position two. And I have sort of an abstract idea what I think that means, but mostly I use it just because I know from experience that it works, not because I understand why it works. And I'm pretty sure that it took me a while to get there, like just sort of trial and error. And so I'd like to, I think this could be a useful feature if people understand it, but that's the part that I think a lot of people just aren't going to get. Second user account from the path. Like now it doesn't seem so hard because it's been drilled into me what that option is.
Yeah, I'm imagining what I think would be helpful, but implementation wise, it would be difficult to achieve.
Mhm.
Would be perhaps like we show a description text here and we show the path that is like user/percent. And
Mhm.
when you select an option here, it bolds the part of the path that is being
Mhm.
selected. So if there was 2, then it would bold the user/percent, it would bold that one. And then if you had position 3, it would
Mhm.
do the last a third, the third part of the path.
Yeah.
And that way it would kind of, I think, relate a little bit better. But yeah, in this situation where there's only one option, maybe that wouldn't be as helpful as if there were, you kind of need more than one option for it to actually be useful.
Mhm.
But there's
Well,
also contexts potentially that aren't coming from the path, and so we need to make it so that and we need to update the description dynamically. It'd be a little bit tricky.
mhm. So I think I was the one who first sort of raised the flag and said, "Hey, nice feature, but I could never use it because I wouldn't understand it." I think we've made it better. I'm really hesitant to like let this linger too much longer while we bike shed, I guess, the UX, if that's something we think we can continue to improve later if we get an idea.
Yep.
Like it would be better to get this feature in the way it is. I think, yeah, it's not as simple to understand as Jen's, but I understand the reason. It's simpler, or her most recent one. It's simpler to understand than where we started, so we've made some progress. Yeah, and maybe if I just play with it some more, I'll come up with ideas on how to make it better.
Yeah, I'll fix my pull request at least to
Sure.
make it so that we can test it. But
And
yeah,
the thing I keep thinking about is what we did on the layout system with that sort of whole Robert added that whole section, sort of help section, because
yeah,
there were similar problems with the layout page, right? You have a site open that you can go to.
yeah. I was going to, and then I changed my mind about it. So let's see. Yeah, here we go. So
Right.
this is the sandbox, but it's not actually. Oh, we were talking too long.
Right. I'm thinking about the
This up here.
yeah, right. But the thing is, we're in a little pop-up box, right? And we just don't have a lot of space to be adding like generic help text like this. But
Yeah, so like the visibility conditions is right here, and this is
yeah,
where, yeah, this one, as we were talking about, the sandbox
yeah,
is
but
broken, but
open up the permission, right? So like
yeah,
we don't really have a lot of space to add a lot of help text in this context.
yeah, especially because we're talking about this particular option, the context that you're choosing.
Yeah. I don't know, and I don't. I'm not sure what we've talked about adding a little like info icon that people could click on. And that's like a core thing that's been discussed, but we don't have that implemented. Maybe that would help us here, but I'm not sure. Um, you know, Again, like I don't know what you could add some help text right to that field, but it would be my fear is that it would be too specific, that it would either have to be very specific or it would have to be very long. And both of those have downsides. So I don't know. Anyways. Yeah, if you
Yeah.
fix your PR, I'll play with it a little more, see if I have ideas, but otherwise, I don't know, did you convince Jen? Or should we wait and ask her?
I did not convince her, but she
Okay.
kind of also got the general idea of what I was trying to
Right.
do.
Well, maybe we talk about it again with her present and together we come up with some brainstorm
Yeah.
on how to
Here's
make that a
a,
little better.
I'm gonna hack this a little bit to see if I can visualize
you're-
what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and you're saying the user account from Path, that language is coming from elsewhere in Core, right? It's not specific to this.
Percent strong. Okay. So this is it's actually not as clear as I would have hoped, but yeah, that's actually not good at all. What I was hoping is that it would be obvious that that part was bold, you know, and then maybe if you selected logged in user account, this thing would go away. But yeah, I see that that's not actually. Yeah, that doesn't mean anything at all to me. Let's see.
How can we have, I'm at backdrop.org. Do we use user accounts like when we do? This is primarily affecting profile pages, right? So do I see other people's profile pages on backdrop.org? I'm thinking about like in the contractors section. And I'm having a hard time finding it.
Yeah, something like this may be
Sure.
helpful. The user account will be pulled from this path, and then even if the bold isn't exactly obvious, at least the sentence actually still provides some value because it tells you what
Yeah,
path this layout is on and
yeah,
could potentially like let you know that it has something to do with the URL, right?
right. I mean, yeah, yes. I definitely think that's helpful. I don't think it's quite as helpful as I'd like it to be, but I'm not going to quibble with that. So.
Yeah, it would be tricky to implement though, because we'd need to
Oh.
like when you select logged in user account, this text would need to go away,
Okay.
because it wouldn't be accurate anymore. Yeah,
Oh,
but
yeah.
we could figure it out.
Okay. Okay. Should we is the next step to just think on this some more, or?
Yeah, I think so. Like you say, let's get Jen in the room at the same time and
get
discuss.
get the PR working again.
Yeah, and get the pull request working again. Yeah, and if we decide not to go this route, I'm fine with this route too. We just need to figure out how to phrase this question. That's where all of this derived from, is how do you phrase the question.
Got it.
Yep. Okay. Great. Well, that's like you say, not something that we need to act on right away, because this is not going to be in 125. This is the one feature that didn't get in, and so we'll probably 126, but that's 3 months away, so we've got some time.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's all. Yeah, as for timing for when we can get these things resolved, Greg, and most of them you've got your hands on them, but I think that most of them also you could use a little bit of help with. And so I'll work through all of these over the next couple of days, over the weekend. And if you can continue to provide feedback, then I think that we can just get them fixed asynchronously.
Cool.
Okay.
Hey.
Anything else?
No, I think we can leave it. Everybody's busy. We can leave it for some other day.
Okay.
I have things to talk about, but let's I will spare you.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Well, let's end the recording and yeah, thanks everybody out there on the internet. See you next week.